So mute yourself if you know you have noise from the background, so that when people who are not in class are listening, you can enjoy the video. All right, so let's go. The first thing we want to do, now I want to talk about, now I'm going to take it slowly and you'll be the ones doing it. I'll just be doing the clicking. All right, so the first thing we want to do is, because we want to set up a network, we want to have at least 2 systems, right? How do we generate a second Linux machine from this single machine that we have here, so that we can have 2 machines?
We'll clone.
We clone, correct. So now let's clone this machine. All right, to clone this machine, we click the machine and we say machine and we say clone. Where is clone? Right there. What name do we want to call this machine? We have Linux Server 1. Should we call this Linux Server 2? Sounds good. Linux Server 2. And then we say generate new MAC address for this machine, because if you don't, it will be the exact same thing that you don't want. All right, so generate new address and you say next. Full clone, next. And then it's cloning. All right, Obafemi, if we were not in a virtual environment cloning, how we have achieved this?
I didn't hear that, sir.
If we're not in a virtual environment where cloning is possible, how would we have achieved having 2 servers?
We will have to reinstall another server using a source code, sir.
Source code?
I mean,
all right,
we'll just install a class.
Yeah, just not, I need somebody to elaborate more on that. So how would you have done it? And right now, with a click of a button, we have 2 machines. That's because we work in a virtual environment. The approach is to get you guys as involved as possible. That's why I'm asking this simile elementary question, so that we can carry everybody along. All right, it doesn't matter. We're not rushing. Speed is not our concern. Just make sure that everybody is following. All right. So, and we have successfully replicated that machine. No, not replicated. We have successfully cloned that machine. We have 2 servers now. If it wasn't a virtual environment, that would not be possible. How would we have done it in an enterprise environment?
Snapshots.
All right. Obafemi is shaking his head. So, who knows? That's not quite correct.
I think we would have to reinstall a new server and put the operating system in it.
Where would you get the new server from?
Download it.
To where? To which machine?
We'll download it to the Linux machine.
Which Linux machine? Who can help? Who can help from there? If this wasn't a virtual environment, this is related to the question Chemi asked about, okay, this is virtual. In real life, in enterprise environment, how would you achieve that? If this wasn't a virtual environment, how would you have achieved having 2 servers?
Two servers.
Yes, go on.
I think you can just get a new hard disk, install a new OS completely, then get it connected to the network.
Why are you saying hard disk? Why not a new machine, a new server?
A new machine, yeah, a new machine completely.
Yes,
yeah.
there will have to be a completely new machine.
Yes.
You have to go to the market, buy a new server, and then continue from where we started. So now that you have a new physical machine, which took like 3 days, 4 days, 1 week, 3 months to come, you now install your new operating system. Did you get that part? So that's the difference between virtual environment, where it takes a click of a button, and an enterprise environment where you have to do physical. All right, so now we do have 2 systems. Let us turn them on so that we can start our networking. Before we turn them on, is there anything you want us to do as far as for networking is concerned? Yes, we want to look at this machine and make sure that it has the right network interface card for networking. So what do? You go to settings, you go to network, Is this network interface card okay for networking?
Yes, sir.
Is correct, fine. Is there, the cable are usually already plugged, so you don't have to do anything about it. So is there anything you want to do on this machine as far as network is concerned? Would you like the machine to be able to browse the internet?
That's not necessary.
Yes, not necessary, but let's just do it to fulfill our righteousness. We just might want to pick something from the internet. All right, Uyo is very active. I need other people to be this active. So people, please ask questions. Today you are doing the work. It's not just me talking. All right, Adeleke Olawale, we need this machine, even though this machine is already set for networking, for LAN, we need this machine to be able to browse, to go to the internet as well once it's loaded. What do we need to do here?
We need to enable NAT, sir.
Correct, thank you. I'm feeling you. All right, so to enable NAT, that's the correct answer. Now let us implement that answer you just gave. What do we do now to implement it? Olawale just gave the most correct answer anybody can ever ask. So what do we do now to implement that answer? Yeah,
click on adapter 2.
No, just, okay, because I asked you to tell, okay, adapter 2, enable, and then what do you enable here? NAT. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So this way, nobody will tell me I don't understand what you are doing. Correct. All right. So do we do the same thing for the second server? Let's do the same thing. So machine, settings, network, host only adapter. That is good for networking. But what about internet? Add a second adapter and make it NAT. Correct. We are ready. Please mute yourselves. You have children behind you, you know. Mute yourself, please. While you mute yourself, please, others remain active so that we can do this together. You have not muted yourself. The person who is, you know yourself now. Do we have to identify it? All right, so now we have two systems prepared for networking. So let us start them. We start system 1, and then we start system 2. In this case, both systems are servers. We don't have clients. This is not like a domain environment where you have server and client. They are both servers. All right. Can you imagine a situation where you have a connection, where you have a network of 2 servers? Can you imagine any situation like that? You know, the networking you are used to, Obafemi, is client server. Now we're networking server to server. Can you imagine and share a situation where you'd have this kind of connection? Very important to understand what we are doing here. Why would you have server to server connection? What do you want to achieve with that?
Maybe to have a redundant server in case one fails, the other one picks up.
No, your thought is still limited to network, to LAN, to domain kind of network. Think beyond domain, because think at the level of enterprise.
So since it's cloud environment and it's all about server to server, so we have 2 or more servers, sir. So since we're operating or aiming towards cloud enterprise, and it's all about 2 or more servers operating together, so we can have 2 or more servers. So server is achievable, sir.
No, I don't quite agree with that. That's not the answer I'm expecting in Badmus. So for the first time, your answer is wrong. Not quite wrong. Good attempt, but not quite. Yeah.
Could it be that maybe one server will be for a different application, the other server for another application?
Yeah, come again with that.
Maybe one server for kind of 5-server application, maybe another server for a different application on the enterprise.
On the enterprise, okay, that's good. That's great. That's a good way to think. Yes, I'll go with that. I'll go with that. So, who does not understand so that Ike can explain to you? Do you understand the practical situation under which we would need to configure 2 servers like we're trying to do now? It's not enough to do it. That does not make you an engineer, but to understand situations where this is applicable so that you have that picture at the back of your mind even while you are configuring. That understanding is what makes you the engineer. Obafemi, do you understand what AK just explained?
Very well, sir.
Okay.
I also want to chip in a situation where, like in our case now, we have a SPDC Nigeria, we have a SPDC Ireland.
Okay.
Can Ireland have the server? Nigeria also have their server.
Correct. Beautiful. Great. Perfect example. Perfect example. Obafemi.
So, sir, is this a case of LAN-to-LAN communication?
No, you are not listening to what Obafemi is saying here. It's not LAN-to-LAN. Obafemi just gave a better example on top of what Kingsley already explained. So this is at enterprise level, not LAN. So you want Obafemi to repeat what you just said, or you want to take time to dwell on that? So anyway, you have sorry?
Yeah, I would watch the video.
Okay.
I'll watch, yes,
all right, but it's good that somebody knows it, that it's on video so that you can reflect on that answer. Perfect example. All right, so let us go to our servers now. One is a replica of the other. So what's my username here? My username is Akin and my password is and then let me log on to this as well. All right, so we have 2 systems. Let's see if we can network them together. So network systems, what's the primary thing we should be setting that we should work on in order to make these 2 systems see each other? Anyway, we don't even know whether they are you sure they are not already networked? We want to test to see these 2 systems are already networked. What do we do?
We ping.
We ping, correct. Thank you so much.
I'm
happy you people are. Who is that? Let me note the people that are replying well so that. Who was that? Huh?
It's AK.
AK. Okay. That's good. AK, you are doing well. AK, Niye Badmons, Obafemi, Uyo. Who else are among my top students? Yeah, you want to add something?
Yeah, sorry, sir. I wanted to ask, what is it Kingsley said? I didn't really hear what he said. There was a little distraction.
We said we ping to find out if these 2 systems are seeing each other, which is the first thing on the network. In fact, the main thing, you ping the system. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's ping. So lead us through ping.
So you were saying that the reason why we ensure that the 2 servers should communicate, if we should know the basics, not just doing it. So I didn't really hear what he said then.
Okay, thank God the video is there. Let's move forward. You watch the video again. But majority heard, so they can help you later. But for now, we want to ping. The next thing to do is to see if these 2 systems are already seeing each other. Essentially, when you say network, what you want to do in network is make 2 systems see each other, ensure that there is a link, physical, logical link between them. Of course, we'll ensure that there's a physical link by way of the network interface card and making sure that the cable is connected. Now, to make sure that link is open for transfer for flow of traffic in between them, let us ping. How do we ping here? So let's go to the terminal. And then let's go to the terminal here. Now we know what to do, but we don't know how to do it. How do we ping? We know how to ping. We know that to ping, we just say ping IP address. What's the IP address of the other system we want to ping? That's what we want to find out. What's the IP address of it? How do you find out the IP address of a system generally? At least you already know how to do it on Windows. How do if this was Windows, what would I type?
IP config.
IP config, correct. IP config. That's the command to find out.
config.
That's the command. Who is waiting? Let me.
config.
Did I tell you that, or did you already know it? Somebody's waiting to.
Class.
Huh?
If config.
No, how did you know it config? Have you already treated that, or did you know it somewhere? Because I want to make sure we're carrying.
You mentioned it in one of the class, yes.
Okay. All right. So let's take it easy. Let's bring in people that are forgotten. All right. So the way to find out about the IP address of a system is instead of IP config, which is not working here. You remember you already know IP config. In Linux, the command that will work is interface if config. If config. All right. So that will show you IP address. However, please also write down that a model, that's the general command that was peculiar with version 6 of CentOS and below. But in recent times with version 7, version 8, and in future, IP address will be able to give you the IP address. With IP address, let's clear. With the command IP address, you get the same result. So from now on, in addition to if config, you can also use the command if config. You can also use the command IP address to get the same result. In fact, you can shorten IP address to IP add to get the same result. In fact, you can even say IPA, and you get the same result. So you have multiple commands available to you now. If you are old school like me, I'll stick with if config. But as new versions of operating systems come out, they improve on the old one. So you may want to say, if you are a new school, you may want to stick with the new things coming out, which is IP address. All right, so whatever you use, we do know how to find out the IP address of a system now. We know the command. And now, when you get to IP address, you are going to see 3 answers, 3 IP addresses. All right, you see IP address 1. Can you see what I'm
Yes,
highlighting there? Can you see that?
Yes,
This is for loop back. Loop back. So there is an interface called loop back. There's another interface that is here called ENP0S3. There's another interface called ENP0S8. There's another interface called Vibro. There's another interface called VibroNIC. So which of these interfaces is relevant for our NIC, for our connection? Because we want to connect those 2 servers. So the interface that we call host-only interface, which of these 5 interfaces is representing that interface? Because that is the interface that we use for networking. All right? It's definitely not the LO, not for loopback. That is the interface that the system uses to talk to itself. That's why it's called loopback. Well, to cut the long story short, the interface of interest here is ENP0S3. Of all these interfaces, the one that we are interested in for the purpose of connecting to network is this interface, ENP0S3. This one is the interface for NAT, ENP0S8, that's the NAT interface. This other one is, look at it, no carrier, no broadcast. They are system interfaces. They are not used for connecting between system and system. So the one that is of interest to us for connecting from system to system is the ENP0S3 here, right here. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's find out if you got that. Now, who is there? Chemi, to find out the IP address of a Linux system, you would do one of if config, IP address, IP add, or IPA. It will give you the same result, essentially. All right? But for you, I would suggest you stick with IP add because that makes more sense in terms of you are looking for IP address. All right? Now, when you type that, you are going to see IP addresses are related to interfaces. So if you have 5 interfaces on a machine, you are going to have 5 different IP addresses assigned to each of the interfaces. Sorry. So each interface would have a different IP address. In this case, there are 5 interfaces that you will see, number 1, number 2, number 3, up to number 5. Don't bother about the rest as far as network is concerned. You only want to bother about is the interface for networking, which is represented here as ENP0S3. Did you get that?
Yes, I got it, sir.
All right, beautiful. Yeah. We are moving ahead. Now, because this is our interest, let us focus on that one. No, not that one, this one. What is this one for, by the way?
For connecting to the which one? Which are you talking about?
The highlighted one.
The highlighted one? Okay.
That's the NAT interface.
Yes.
That's the NAT interface. So this one is what? The host-only interface.
Yes.
All right. So let us focus on the host-only interface. So what is the IP address? I don't see any IP address here. Okay. I could actually do IP address for that specific interface because all these other 5, they are confusing me. I want to focus on that one. I want to zoom in on that one. The interface of ENP. We're learning commands, so I hope you know. I'm introducing new commands. So you are using this one to learn them. ENP0S3. So this way, yeah, is that correct? So don't just hello, am I doing something wrong?
The ENP0S3 is joined together, not separated.
Yeah, I joined them together. ENP0S3. Did I say
correct, sir?
I'm correct. So the difference here is I'm saying instead of giving me the IP address of all of them, give me the IP address specifically of ENP0S3 interface. That's the command here. All right. So I press enter, and it says it's unknown. All right. What about IP address? IP address generally is known, but the IP address of that specific interface ENP0S3 is unknown. So what's the problem? We have not assigned IP address. Yes, I know. But by default, you know that by default, systems will automatically give themselves IP addresses using DHCP, right?
Yes, sir.
DHCP is automatically configured for systems. You don't, even when you don't know anything about IP address, your network will work like they have IP. In fact, not like, they will still work with IP addresses because they have dynamically assigned or accepted some IP address. So why then am I not seeing IP address there, even though I expect it to have some IP address? The reason is because the interface is not up. I've not switched on this interface. The interface right now is dead, it's inactive. I need to switch it on so that it will come active and begin to accept IP addresses. The way to bring up an interface, this is a new command, is to say interface, that's IF for interface, up, if up. If up, which interface do you want to bring up? The interface is ENP0S3. All right, if I press enter, now it's not telling me that the command is wrong. It's telling me that this user that is attempting to switch on this interface does not have the authority, cannot do this work. It's not authorized to do it. Users cannot control this device. All right? Are you understanding me so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Please say if you are not, so that we can pick you up and carry you along. All right? So the reason I think, I don't know for sure until I try it, because nobody really knows. Yeah, you may be familiar with it, but something. The reason I think this interface is not presenting me with an IP address is because that interface is down. It's not active to hold an IP address. So the command to bring up an interface is if up. I hope you have written that down. If up, then the name of the interface. In this case, the name of the interface as presented here is ENP0S3 up. All right, so that brings us into another problem. And the problem is, who is this? You are just a mere, in fact, who am I? Please mute yourself. Somebody's making noise in the background. Who is this person? Who am I? It tells me you are user AA Akin. Okay. You do not have the permission to do this work. All right. So the simple thing to do in order to show you how this works is to change the user to root. Root is able to do all things. So to change user to you so that I can implement this command, the command is change user, SU. Switch user. And you know the reason I want to switch user is so that I can do all things. Amongst them, this other one that it says I don't have the authority to do. All right, so I say SU to switch user. So at this time, I need to enter the password of the root, and the password is. So right now, I'm no longer logged in as A Akin. How do I know? Let me see, who am I? So last time I said who am I, it told me I was A Akin. Now I say who am I, it tells me I'm root. So I have switched from being A Akin, who is a mere user, to the root user who is now able to do all things. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, Akin, why did I need to switch from being A Akin with limited access to root with full access?
The user is not permitted. It doesn't have all the permission to do that.
What's the answer?
I said because the AA Akin doesn't have the permission to do that.
To do what?
To bring up the interface for the IP address.
Okay. All right, correct. So that's good. Your answer was correct because you used the language well. When I ask questions, I'm looking for your ability to use those terms. You use those terms perfectly well. To bring up is very correct. Interface, correct. So you are speaking the language perfectly. Any IT engineer anywhere in the world will understand what you just said. No ambiguity. All right. So if you are speaking long English just to have that information, you would have been wrong. All right. So now I know that is done. So what? Yeah.
Which password did you put? Yeah.
The root password, of course.
Oh. How do I get that?
Who is that?
Ghost time.
Ghost time, have you installed Linux on your system?
Yes. Yes, I have.
When you install Linux, it created a root account for you, and then you enter the password at that point. If you forgot it, then you have to go back and install Linux all over again.
Okay, sir.
So during your installation, it created the account and it asked you for a password. You did enter a password. So that is your root password, yeah. All right, so back to class. So like Akim already said, the reason we did this was to be able to do this. So now that we are root, let us attempt to do that again. So what do we do now? We now say if up for bring up the visitor, ENP0S3. All right. Oh, it worked now. It says connection successfully activated. All right. Connection successfully activated. So we expect now that our interface is now able to accept IP addresses. So let us see, does it now have an IP address? So we say, how do we check for IP addresses? What's the command?
Ifconfig.
Ifconfig, correct.
Add.
Okay. Or IP
add.
Okay, let's do IP add. All right. So let us go back to that interface. Do you remember that interface? ENP0S3. Look, it now has an IP address. Did I even check properly? Maybe I did properly then, but whatever it is, it does have an IP address now. Look at it. All right. This one is the Ethernet address. And this INET is the IP address. So the IP address is now 192.168.56.10. So we do have an IP address now. Any question? If that INET is IP address, then what is this INET? Which other INET is this? This is also an IP address, but version 6. So we have IP addresses either as version 4 or as version 6. Don't worry about version 6. You are not ripe enough to know about version 6. So IP addresses, our use of IP addresses will be limited, restricted to IP version 4. So what is the IP address of this system? 192.168.56.101/24. This /24 will confuse you because you don't know the meaning of slash. Don't worry about it. If that is confusing you, then you can use the old school if config. And then to give you the IP address in the format that you are used to. Where's the interface? Look at the interface. IP address 192, then mask address. So instead of /24, it's giving you the mask address now. 255.255. You are used to that. Any question? All right, so now we have an IP address here. So if we want to ping this system now, we now have an IP address to ping, right? Correct. Now let's go to this other system and do the same thing. We'll simply repeat what we have done there. What's the IP address of this system? IP add. What's that interface again? ENP0. So here we are looking carefully. Now we can confirm that it does not have an IP address. Look at everything relating to that interface. Is there an IP address there? No. Is there now what is this address I'm saying then? Is this not an IP address? No, it's not an IP address.
No, it's
not int, it's Ethernet. Ethernet is MAC address. So that's a MAC address, not IP address. So there is no IP address here. All right, so who is going to help us put an IP who is going to help us get this system to pick up an IP address? What do? We
get to our roots.
Let's encounter the problem first before we go to roots. So what should we do now normally to help the system pick an IP address?
If up.
If up, correct. If up. If up for which interface? All of them? Or a particular interface?
ENP. Yeah.
I want you to be participating like this. So if up ENP0S3. All right, this user cannot do it. So what's the problem and what's the solution?
Can you
switch user to root?
Switch user to who? To admin, root.
To root.
All right, we are root. So you want to say if up now? If up to ENP0S3. Huh? Correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
All right, so the interface is up now. Successfully activated. Now that the interface is up, what's the IP address of that interface now? IP address of all the interfaces. Then you can now look for the particular interface of interest. And you now see that interface that had only this now also has this. All right? Not just for IP version 4, but also for IP version 6. So we do have an IP address. Let's compare the two IP addresses. Look at this IP address. 192.168.56.102. 192.168. Who is that? Are you talking to us or you are distracting us? So compare these two addresses. Anyway, so they do have IP addresses. Now we have something to ping, right? Because the whole essence of doing this is to be able to ping. So write down this IP address so that we can ping this IP address from this. I hope you are seeing my screen, both of them.
Yes, sir.
So Obafemi, what we have here is the server in Netherlands and another server in Nigeria. This communication is between two servers, like you already explained to us. So everything I'm doing here, even though I'm doing them in a virtual environment, is between a server in Nigeria and a server in Netherlands. So on my Netherlands server, let me ping the Nigeria server. Let me ping Obafemi. What's your IP address, Obafemi? Look at it here. So write it down.
192.
All right. So ping 192.168.168.
.56. .102.
And then I press enter. Wow, I'm getting a reply. So which means that this system is already connecting. Our two systems are already connecting. No, not true. At least this one is sending packets and is receiving reply from the Nigerian server. This is good. As far as network is concerned, that is good. What about this other one? Can this other one? Control C will end the process. What is the IP address of this system?
192.
Let's just find out. What did I write? ENP0F3. What's the problem? What's the IP address? IP add. ENP0F3. Okay, maybe I wrote O instead of 0. But in any case, we have the IP address, yes. So please write this down. That for server 2, this is the IP address. For server 1, that is the IP address. Write it down. Because we'll be using IP addresses to address them. All right. So we'll go to this machine and we attempt to ping the other IP address. Ping, what's the IP address?
192.
101.
101, okay. All right. We're getting reply. So these two systems are seeing each other. So whatever it is we're setting up the network for, whether to copy files or to SSH, we can now do it because the two systems have been confirmed to be seeing each other. In other words, they are in a network. Because this is server and this is Linux, this kind of network is not like domain where you have to join computer to domain. It's not even a graphic environment. Any questions so far?
Yes.
All right. What's your question?
So, okay, so you said, to get an IP address. Sorry for the background noise. I don't know. They're having a party just behind my house. You said for the to get an IP address, you type the IP add. And what is not the striking difference between the IP add and if up?
It's basically the same thing. Just that. What about the difference,
okay.
Right?
Yes. If up ENPO P0S3, because they're practically doing the same job.
So come again. You are saying what's the difference between what and what?
The IP add and the if up ENP0 ENP0S3.
No, there are two different things. There are two different things. IP add is you are asking what is your IP address.
Okay.
So if I say IP add, the system will give me the IP addresses of all its interfaces. In this case, 5 interfaces.
Okay.
Among the interface of interest. So we don't really care whether the rest have IP addresses or they don't. Well, we don't have businesses. We don't have business with those ones. These are our interest. So as long as this one has an IP address, we are good. But the other command, if up, does something different. The if up ENP0S3 is switching on is bringing up the interface so that it can accept IP address. So it's a switch.
Okay.
Switch on and off. So if I say switch down now, if down, if down instead of up. If down what? If down what?
ENP
S03.
0S3.
That's the name of the interface. So if I do that, device is connected. So what do I expect to see? So I've switched off that interface. What do I expect to see now?
Timeouts.
What do you mean by timeout?
As in, you won't be able to, you can't connect it. You can't connect to the other stuff.
So why would I not be able to connect now?
Because the interface card is down.
Okay, so what's the result of the interface card being down? What does it do for us or do for?
It cannot
give us IP address.
Correct. It cannot give us IP address anymore. So how do we know? How do we test to see whether that statement is correct or not correct?
Ping.
Oh, yeah.
No, not ping.
IP
address. If you want, you can look for that specific ENP0S3, and then to tell you, what does it tell you? It's unknown. Last time you typed that one, it didn't tell you unknown, it gave you an IP address. But right now it's saying there is no IP address. So to switch an interface up or switch it, to turn an interface on or turn it off, that is where you use if up or if down. You see the difference now, K2? They are not the same commands.
All right.
All right. All right. So we created a problem here so that we can show you how it works. Let us resolve that problem. What do we do now to rectify this problem we just created?
IP up.
If
up rather.
If up, okay. But we can just do an up arrow key to bring up our last command until we get to if up. Okay, if we cannot get to if up, we can just come here. No. Let's look for a related command. If up, yeah, there it is. And then we'll just press enter instead of typing all over again. And this time we'll now say IP address. To give us an IP address, why is it not giving us? ENP0S3. ENP0S3. IP address ENP0S3. What am I doing wrong there?
Command
IP add 0S3. 0S3 is unknown. IP add. Okay. IP add for all the systems. It's giving us an IP address now, so we're right. Well, I'll troubleshoot. I don't know why that particular one. But the good thing is, don't kill yourself trying to use a command that is not responding appropriately. There are many reasons. There are many possible reasons. We'll look at them one by one. But for now, if one command does not work now as you expect it to work, use another command. All right? And then as you know more and more, you see that, oh, there's something you should have done that you are not doing. No problem with that. So, all right, so we're back to track. Now you know the difference between if up and IP add. Any other question? Are we still able, are we not able to ping? Or are we still able to ping?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Emmanuel. Okay, from every illustration, could it be safe to say networking is mainly enabled or is possible when we convert to our roots?
No. That's not correct.
Okay.
No. So we'll learn stuff. This is just the second major class in Linux. By your 8th class, you know how to do it even as you use it. So any questions so far on what we have done?
What could possibly make us not be able to ping, to connect to both machines properly without interference? No, I'm just asking, is there anything that, because the host only is, it seems all good right now, but you know, like in Windows, we had the firewall, you know, we had to turn on and off. So in Linux, what could be that possible interference?
I don't know. Let's just carry on, and then anytime we find a problem, we troubleshoot it, and then they will just come out by themselves. But specifically for firewall, no, we don't have to. There's no firewall here, like you can see. Okay. At least not now. But later on, as part of your projects, you see how to install firewall, how to turn on firewall, how to turn off firewall. But for now, it doesn't affect. Firewall does not affect our networking here like it would do it, like it does in Windows. It does affect, but not right now. You'll see that. You'll see that later. There's a firewall somewhere. All right, so as far as this is concerned, you are good. But in real life, in operations, you don't just go to a system and find things this easy. Because the IP addresses were dynamically assigned. So you can't play on luck. You can't say, I hope that the dynamically assigned IP addresses will be identical so that they can see each other. You can't do that in operations. So in operations, what you want to do is create a problem by removing these IP addresses that are dynamically assigned and assign your own IP address statically. That way, you know, you're no longer playing on, I hope it gives the right kind of IP address. You now know that because you have statically assigned your IP address, it should always and permanently work. So let us remove this dynamically assigned IP addresses and put our own static IP address. Let us do that. All right, Control-C will terminate the process. This process we're on. Did you see that Control-C stopped the pinging? And now we're back to our command line interface. I mean, our prompt. Can you see that? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So clear the screen. We want to assign static IP address. If you were writing the Red Hat certified Linux system administrator, this question will carry like 5 marks or even 15 marks. What we're about to do now is a core chain networking. Don't go for interview in Linux unless you know this. All right, so what we want to do is to assign a static IP address to this system. To do that, what are we? Print working directory. I'm in ARKing. To do that, we go to the place where all configuration files in Linux are kept. There's a particular folder where all configuration files in Linux are kept. That folder is called etc. So if we say LL, we're going to see ARKing desktop direct documents, downloads. There is no etc here. The place where etc is the root. So cd root. Where are we? Print working directory. We're now in root. So show me the content of root. Inside root, you have boot, you have dev, you have etc. Look at etc. It's a folder in root. So let's go into etc. cd etc. Remember I said that, so what are we now? Print working directory. We're now in etc. All right? So we're now in the correct directory where configuration files are kept. Now let us look for the configuration file for networking, anything relating to networking. Let us look for it here. LL. LL is the same thing as ls minus L. The same thing. So whatever you type is the same result. Okay. Let me remove this so that I can focus on one system. Let me minimize this. All right. So LL. So many things scrolling up. I didn't even see. Okay, let me scroll one by one. I could do ls LL if I want. pipe. Grep. LF, grep for what? What am I grepping for? Okay, let me do LL. So Control C will terminate. Clear. Let me show you what I did. Now I do LL and the list of files just scrolled all the screen. I didn't see them all, but I want to scroll through them so that I can show you the files, and then you can I can show you the files and the directory because there's something I'm looking for. In any case, I'm already inside the correct directory because I know that all configuration files are saved inside etc. All right. So since they are all scrolling off the screen, I could do LL and then pipe more. That means by more, I'm saying don't scroll everything off the screen. Show me page by page. So if I enter it to show me one page at a time. One page at a time. Okay, about I can see that they are arranged alphabetically. Okay. Okay, there's a file called crony.conf. Okay, wow. All right. So I'm done looking at this page. I press space bar. It will show me the next page. All right, Chrome tab. You are going to use many of these files later on, but just know that they are here, decon. Because as part of your getting used to Linux, you should know what files are available for configuration. All right, so I'm done with this page. I even see DHCP here. Okay, okay. I'm done with that page. To go to click more, I press my space bar. All right, so I look. All right, okay. I'm just getting, look at this, FS tab, wow. This is one of the many files we'll configure later, okay. I'm just taking a tour around the configuration files, and I see that most of them end with config. So this is where the configuration files are, okay. Space bar, all right. Hostname, okay. Host, wow. In fact, we'll configure this today. So I'm just showing you the content of the etc directory where the configuration files are saved. For me, I know I'm familiar with many of these configuration files. That's why I'm showing you, like, look, there's a file called hostname. There's a file called host, all right? But for this one, we want to configure things about networking. So let's look for files relating to networking, IP secrets, okay? Space, all right? All right. So let's move faster now. NFS, wow, this is a file. I'm coming to configure you later. But for now, let's look for files related to networking. Look at networks. Okay, that's networking. NS switch, okay. Network, that's a file. Okay, all right, space bar, and so on and so forth, okay? Now, I've taken you through the tour, but I know the file I'm looking for. Let me just help you. Yum, we're going to be using Yum a lot. So this is the file, it's right here. The file I'm looking for is saved in a folder called system config. Now, let me do, which one, what do you want me to do? I could do LL more again, or I could do LL, but grep for the file, for the listing called grep for system. In fact, I don't know, I can't remember the remaining part, so I could do this. System what? System star. What result do I get if I enter this?
It gives, okay.
LL, grep for system star. Yeah. Yeah, what do you expect to give us?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
This L, or is it a stroke after L? How do you get that?
It's called pipe, and it's on, you know, your backslash.
Yes.
It's on the same key.
Okay.
As backslash. Uyo, did you say that was backslash or you said that was forward slash?
That's false. Okay, this is backslash actually. The one on the space bar. The one on the
okay.
The one the grep is the one the pipe is on is backward slash.
Okay. All right. So that answers your question. The same thing. All right. So let's press enter here. What do we have? It didn't give us anything. But what I want is for it. This is the folder. The folder I'm looking for. It starts with system. So I want it to show me all files starting with all entries, whether file or directory, starting with system. So ls -l grep for all files starting with sys. In fact, maybe sys star. All right. Still now, are you telling me that amongst all of this, nothing is starting with sys? There must be something. Maybe I'm not doing something right. It's a good command anyway. If it wasn't a good command, it would tell us wrong command. The fact that it's not complaining means that it's a good command. Okay, let's use another method to find out about file starting with system. To be honest, the file I'm looking for is system config, but I want to see it here so that it doesn't look like I'm just manufacturing this thing from my head. I want you to see it there. So how do I show you? Let me do LL. Let me do more again. So this time, let me go to RS. All right. Look at it. There's something system. This starts with system config. Oh, okay. Sysconfig. Is that a directory or a file?
Yes.
Directory, sir.
It's a directory.
Directory. Okay. Beautiful. All right. So this is what I wanted to show me. So I probably was not doing the right thing. So if I wanted it to show me all files starting with SYS, not necessarily files, all entries starting with SIS, what should I have typed? So at this time, I can cut this short. Let's use that one to learn. So I will say, show me list all files.
Pipe.
Pipe, right? Okay.
Grep.
SYS
star.
Correct. You guys are correct. So we expect to get the correct answer here. So what's in on? Okay, so it's showing us this time. Sys. Well, that one is a directory. And then system ND, that one is also a directory. Is it giving us what we are looking for? What about this other one? Why did it not show us sysconfig? Sysconfig. There's something about this thing that we're not getting right. But don't worry about it. At least it gives us an idea. If it's not giving us the results that we expect, then we tune it to give us the result that we expect. Now, let me not distract you. This is a different topic for another day. Let me go exactly to where I'm going to. This is where I'm coming to. So I say CD, system, what's that? Where's that, please? Sysconfig, where is it?
Sysconfig.
Where is it?
Yes, that's right it there.
Okay. Sysconfig. All right. So what is inside here? All right. So I see another directory inside called network scripts. All right. I won't spend too much time on this. Let's move forward. So I see the CD network, then scripts. Mute yourself. Somebody is making noise in the background. Network scripts. All right. So I'm in network scripts. What's inside here? There are many configuration files. Which of them is relevant? Don't worry, I'll copy it and send to you. And then the one will be for all the if down you were entering, the if up, they are here. But this time we want to say, All these are files. There's no directory here. No problem. What file are we configuring? Is there a file called is there a file ll pipe grep for a file called if cf, where is it? Okay, let me look for it. If a b c d, if conf what's that interface? enp0s3. There's no grep for. All right, let me get that file. AWS, what are we doing? Linux networking. Now, the file we are looking for to configure for static IP address. Networking. Where's my file? Where's my file? Where's my file? Where's my file? Find the right place. All right, so, and then the name of the file is what? If CFG. All right, so I'll send this to you. Well, let me just explain. This is the file I'm looking for. etc sysconfig network scripts, and then there's a file if config, if CFG. That's what I'm missing. All right, so here we'll now say grep for if CFG. Yeah, that's it. All right, so that is the file. Confusing. All right, let me start all over again. What I'm saying is, in order to assign a static IP address to that interface, there is a particular file that I must go look for and configure. That dynamically assigned IP address is not good for operations. I need to statically assign an IP address. I need to remove that dynamically assigned and enter my own IP address according to the network design. To do that, there is a particular file I must go and look for and edit. The name of that file is what I just showed you. The name of the file is if CFG, then the interface of that I want to configure that file on. So in this case, the name of the file is if CFG minus the interface. The interface I'm configuring for my networking is ENP0S3. That's the name of the file. All right, so this is something you have to memorize. There's no other way to remember. So the other way to remember is to scroll through one by one, which is the method I was trying to show you. Is there anyway? But where is this file? Which directory are we in now? PWD, right? Print working directory. Oh, we're already, okay, let me get out of here completely. CD where? Root.
Root.
Print working directory. All right, so we're starting all over now. Print working directory. Fine, we're in root. So what's the name of that file that we must go and edit in order to put our static IP address? The name of the file is IP, what's the file again? If CFG, that's
CFG.
It. Then what's the interface we are configuring?
ENP03.
S0.
OS3.
Correct. It's not O, it's 0, so that I can differentiate between O and 0. Now, this file, if I enter like this, it's going to be wrong command because this file is not in root, because right now I'm in root. So to specify where this file is, where you should go and pick this file, what do I need to do? I need to specify that this file is in etc inside a directory in etc called
sysconfig.
Sysconfig, correct. Sysconfig.
Inside network-script. Network-script.
Network-scripts.
Slash.
Forward slash.
All right. Yeah.
Slash, yeah.
You get it?
Yes, sir.
But not everybody got that. So if we just enter it here, it means that we are working at the root, but we don't want to work at the root. We want to direct it, point the full path name where the file is. So the file is in etc, sysconfig, network script, and then the name of the file. So this is what I was trying to show you when I was navigating all around looking for the file. Even though I knew the name, I could have entered this tree, but you're wondering, how do we know where? How did you know this? So the other way is to navigate. So if I enter now, it will take me to the file. But if I get to the file, what will I do? What do I want to do? I want to edit that file, right?
Yes, sir.
To edit a file, what do I do? This command will not help me to edit the file.
You cut it.
No, cut will just show me the content. I will not be able to edit it.
VI.
Okay,
VI. So I'll have to say VI. That's the actual command. VI is the real command. This other one is just showing the VI where to go and pick the file from. So this is the full command that I'm trying to show you. But to show you this one, I did just want to enter it. So if I VI now, this is the file that I should edit in order to enter a static IP address. So I'll remove this DHCP and I'll put static there. But let me exit here. Let me repeat this whole thing so that you people know how to get here.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Let me exit here first. Okay. So you know I'm no longer at the prompt right here. I'm inside VI now. To exit VI, what do I do? I press escape.
Escape.
Colon. If I want to save, I press W to save. In this case, I don't want to save. I say quit, and then I say bank. So I have left that VI editing surface. I'm now back to my prompt. Yes. But before you ask your question, let me repeat this whole thing because I know how difficult it can be. The other way is, where am I? Print working directory. The other way is for me to go into etc, and then from etc, I go into sysconfig. From sysconfig, I go into network scripts, and then from network scripts, I just enter VI, this command. So I can go step by step, or if I'm an expert, I just type the full list. But you are not expert, so let's take it step by step and go into etc first. So from where I am, how do I go into etc?
CD, etc. Okay.
CD, etc, right?
CD, etc. Right. Yes.
So what am I now? Print working directory. I'm in etc now. All right. Do you want to take a look? Yes. So what do I do now? Where do I go from here? If you are not sure, you don't remember, you can
CD sysconfig.
Sysconfig, yes. But you know that sysconfig is a directory somewhere here. How many directories? Yeah. How many lists do we have here, by the way? LL, W counts. I mean, what's the command? There's something.
WC.
WC.
LL pipe WC.
Pipe, yeah. To combine two commands, there must be pipe in between them. Otherwise, so correct. So what's the problem this time?
The minus shouldn't be there.
All right, good.
Just beside W.
Is it WC? Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. Thank you for reminding me. All right, so we see that there are 277 entries scrolling up the screen. So amongst these 277 entries, one of them is the one you are trying to tell me now, all right? So you can either take your time to look for it, or just to convince you that it's actually there, what do I do to convince you? What do I do to convince you that the name of that file is there? I grep for it.
Grep.
So grep for what's the name of the entry?
Sysconfig.
Sysconfig. All right. So grep for it and tells you, oh, I was hiding, but I'm actually there. Now you know that it's there, that it's not magic. So what do you want to do now? I want to change directory to sysconfig. All right. So we're inside sysconfig now. And again, there are so many list entries here. How many entries do we have here? LL. What counts? 48. If you want, you can look through one by one. Otherwise, you just look for, just grep specifically for what you are looking for. All right. So in this case, we want to do, what do we want to do? What are we looking for? Or where should we go to next?
Network script, sir.
Network script.
All right. But somebody does not believe that network script is among the so many files here. And it doesn't want to go, okay. Luckily, it's not so far, so we can see it right away. So that's the directory we want to go into because what we are doing is related to networking. So we go into network scripts. CD what?
Network script.
Network. All right, scripts. All right, we're inside network scripts now. All right, LL. So many configuration files. Which of these many configuration files are you interested in? You say LL. This time, what are you grepping for? IFCFG, right?
Yes, sir.
What's the full name? For which interface? Mute yourself. Your door is making noise in the background.
ENP 0S3.
ENP 0S3. Who is this person disturbing us now? You don't want to mute yourself, right? All right. All right. So we find that instead of looking for the file one by one amongst 48 files, it's actually there. So now that we have confirmed that it's there, this time it's a file. So we're not saying change directory. This one is a file now. This is the file we are coming to. This all the change directories we'll be doing. This is our destination. This is the real thing we want to come and edit. So how do we edit it now?
VI.
IFCFG.
IFC, yeah.
Okay. IFCFG. That's if config minus what?
Minus ENP.
I have to remove some people. Let me go and look for these people making noise and take them off. That's my video now. That's my video. Oh God. That's my, what are these people? Where's my video, please? Okay, so
you can mute everybody. Yeah, we cannot mute one or after the other.
Yeah, then I'm even looking for the place to mute everybody. Okay, mute all, yeah. Allow participants to unmute. Okay. That was hell. So we successfully muted everyone. All right, the active people, just unmute yourself, just the active people. Those people that are helping me. I think there are about 4 or 5 of you. Unmute yourself so that I can continue to do this together. I hope it's not one of you that are hearing this background noise. All right, so let's complete this. It's actually one of you. One of you is
POS3.
One of the unmuted persons still has background noise. So ENP
0S3.
S3.
0S3.
All right. So finally, this is what we are going to. We have arrived now. So before we even start to do anything about configuring this file, which is the real thing, do you now know how to go to this file so that you can configure it? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
Are you
sir.
sure?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
That was quite a process, but
Yeah,
we'll
it
through.
was. But by the time you do it once or twice and you remember that link, it wouldn't be such a long process. All right. So here we are. We need to configure this file. To configure this file, what I prefer to do is just delete everything and create a new file completely. I just prefer to do that. So I'll delete, just hold down delete. Go to the next line, hold down delete. All right. And delete everything. All right, so we have a blank file. Let us now start to create our own file. To enter, we press I for insert. I for insert, I. What's going on? I for insert, why is it not entering? I. All right, so we're ready to insert now. What are we inserting? I'll give you the file. The file that we are using to replace that file is right here. So this is the new configuration file. It's a tool. All right, can you see what's going on? Mute yourselves, one of you. That noise is coming from you. All right. So can you see the file now? This is what we're doing. So we're going to say device. Can you see my Word document?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so this is what we're going to repeat inside here. Device is the interface. And we're saying when you boot, make sure this interface is brought up, bring it on, so that we don't have the case of interface is down, therefore could not accept IP address. That was what we had the last time. And then the boot pro will now be set to static. It was on DHCP before. And then now enter the new IP address and the subnet mask. That's all. So this is what you'll be doing as a system administrator. You'll be configuring files, different kinds of files. In this case, you are configuring this file. For this particular case, you are configuring this file ipconfig for that interface. So all you need to remember is that long list, and then you VI it. It wouldn't be this long list. All right, so are we ready to enter all of this now? Do you understand what we are doing here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
all of
sir.
you saying yes, sir, yes, sir. Linux, is it not that easy?
We are getting it.
Okay, well, thank God you are getting
this is your, sorry to ask, this is your gateway IP now.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Hide it. Don't talk about gateway IP.
All
now,
right.
Let's just follow the way you are following. Now, let's enter. Device equals ENP
0S3.
All right. On boot
Equals to yes.
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 Let's do smaller. Then boot protocol equals
static.
Static. Yeah.
Or DHCP.
No, only static now. You can use that. Yeah. Well, the whole SS coming here to make it static.
Okay.
So our IP address is now you can assign your IP address.
Okay.
And then your subnet mask, net mask. Now you can assign your IP address. What IP address would you like to assign to this system?
192.168.
192.168.56. Are you assigning the same IP address that was assigned originally? No. Give your own IP address.
Oh, okay.
The ones you are used to from Windows.
Okay,
just
100.10.
All right. And what's the subnet mask for 192?
255.255.255.255.0.
All right. So that is it. You are done. Just make sure your spellings are correct. There's no comma where it shouldn't be. But if there's any mistake here, it will not work. Instead of 0, if you mistakenly write O there, it will not work. So let's check on boot equals yes, boot proto equals static. Then that's our IP address. Okay, looks good. So we want to save this. How do we save and exit here? We have configured the file. Escape.
Okay.
Colon.
Right. WQ.
Where's my colon?
Bank.
All right, I have my colon. Save. Okay.
WQ bank.
My Q. There's something wrong with my W.
The W is in caps. Upper caps.
All right. So W.
Q.
Q and bank.
Bank. Is it bank?
Bank. B-A.
Oh, bank.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, shebang. All right, we are done. We are done. Well done. You just did something major. I'll give you plenty of marks in your exam. So, do you want to cut? There's no need, but just in case you want to see that what you did is actually there, then you can cut the file. If CFG ENP0S3. All right, so it shows you everything you have done. That's cut. All right, so that's good. We have successfully assigned a static IP address to this system. Good. All right. So what's the IP address of this system now? What IP address have we assigned?
192.168.100.10.
All right. So what's the IP address? If we now say IP address, what do we expect to see as the IP address? 192.168.100.10. All right, so where's the interface? That's the interface. So what IP address are we seeing? 192.168.
192.
It's not saying the new IP address.
156.
So it's not working. It's still seeing the old IP address. What's the problem?
So we have to activate it, sir.
All right.
Enable.
Okay. So are you still following?
Yes, sir.
Is the whole class still following?
Yes, sir.
So anytime
Yes,
you make changes to your configuration, or specifically, anytime you edit a configuration file, because this what we just did now is a configuration file. Anytime you edit a configuration file, you must go and enable it for the system to grasp it. So you must come here and say system CTL enable. This configuration file is about networking. So you say enable network. It's actually network.service, or that's what it used to be. But these days, even if you don't put the service because of modern, with later versions, just say system CTL enable network. All right. What's that? Network service is not a native service. Redirecting your network service on executing. Anyway, so the command is system CTL enable, then the name of that service. In this case, the name of the service is network. All right. All right. So now that we've entered that, let us check the IP address now. So what's the new IP? The IP address now for that interface? The IP address is still
192.
Didn't change?
No.
No, sir.
All right. So we expect it to change. Who am I? Who am I? I'm root. System CTL enable network service. It's a native service redirecting. It should change. System CTL. Yeah, that's correct. There's no need to check. All right, no problem. Then system CTL status network. It's active. It's active. So system CTL system CTL what's the other command?
Enable.
Give me 1 second. I'll not trouble you. I'll not trouble you with the troubleshooting, but you will work. System CTL enable. What's the other one? System CTL. Are you hiding? System CTL. There's one more command after system CTL. Give me 1 second. Let me look for it. Restart. Okay. It's not really enabled. That was, man. I need to be practicing this thing. All right. So, are you still there?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Everybody here? Yeah. No, what I should have done is not enable. What I should have done is system CTL. System CTL is restart, not enable, restart. System CTL restart this service because I have made changes, restart it. You can actually say start or restart is the same thing, whether I say start or restart. Restart what? Restart the network services. Network services. You can do service, but why type it if it's so the command is restart actually. So did you get that? So when you say restart, the networking services have been restarted. So now if you say IP address, it's going to pick up the new address. IP address now will have the new address, definitely. 192.168.100. This is the new address. You get it now. So anytime you change a service, anytime you edit a configuration file, in this case, the configuration file is related to networking. You must go and restart that service for your editing to take effect. And the command to restart a service is system CTL, mute yourselves, your noise will disturb other trainings. System CTL, then restart. What service are we restarting in this particular case? Because later on you'll be restarting different services. The network, the service you are restarting is a network service. Network dot service if you want. But even if you do not put dot service, it will still work. So that's the correction. All right. So once you do that, it will now restart itself and pick up your new IP address, not just your new IP address, the new configuration file that you have now. And then having done that successfully, you may want to check the status of your service. Is it dead or active? You may want to check that by doing system CTL. That was the status of my network service. Status of my network service. And then to tell you it's active. All right? Active. Sometimes it's not active, it's dead, it's red. But that's not the important thing. Now, having restarted the service, there's one more thing you want to do. You want to say system CTL enable. System CTL enable.
That's CLT.
Oh, okay. System CTL enable. Enable what? Enable network. So this one is saying it's going to work this time, but next time I'm going to switch off this system, and next time I start this system all over please ensure that everything I have configured now takes effect. Otherwise, you would have to come back here and do system, CTL, start every time. But enable means make it permanent, enable it. So if you now do enable, it will work now and it will forever work every time you start the system. So you have completed all, you have observed all protocols here. You are good now as far as configuration of this file is concerned. That's all. We are done. Any question? All right. So do you remember the IP address of server 2? No, this is server 1. Remember that this is server 1?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Do you remember the IP address of server 2?
Yes, sir.
What's the IP address? Give it to me. Let's ping it.
192.
192.
Yeah.
168.
168.
Yeah.
56. 102.
102.
56.
56.102.
All right. So do you expect it now if we press enter?
No, it wouldn't.
Will it ping or will it not ping?
It
It
will
will
not
ping.
It will ping.
It will not ping.
It won't ping.
It will not ping.
Not supposed
It will not ping, yes. It will ping.
All right, so let's find out.
It will not ping.
All right, it's not pinging. Destination not reachable. What's the problem? It's not a problem actually, because we have done everything.
Because they are not on the same network.
They're not on the same IP sub whatever.
Correct.
Subnets,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct. All right. So apparently everybody is following so far, and which is very, very, very good. All right. All right. So let's go to the other system and do something there so that we'll now have it pinging and have both of them on the same network once again. But right now, by our introduction of static IP, we have separated.
Is it that they're not same IP subnets?
We're not hearing you. We're not hearing you because your bandwidth is distorted. All right, so let's go to the other system. So this Linux server 1. Where's Linux server 2? Linux server 2. All right. All right, so this one should be smoother. We know what to do. We know exactly what to do here. So what do we want to do? Print working directory. We're in ARKing. What do we want to do first of all? What are we trying to do here?
Go to the root.
CD
Want
root.
to statically assign IP address.
All right. Oh, Control C. CD what? Root. So print working directory. When okay, so what do we do now?
CDXC.
CDXC. Okay. Yeah. What do we do from CDXC?
CD6 config.
CD6 config. Sys config. All right. LL. What do we do?
CD network script.
CD network scripts. All right. Good. What do we do?
CD IP CFG.
VI.
Not CD anymore. We're not going to a directory. We want to edit the file now. We're not in the place where the file is. So it's now VI.
Yeah.
Yeah. CFG. If CFG.
If CFG is
config. Minus EMP 0S3.
EMP0S3. All right.
0S3.
Ah, no, I missed something there. That's not the file. So exit, press escape, colon, quit.
Escape.
Bang. So what did I do wrong here?
Quit.
VI ENP0S3. What's the problem? That file should not. There's something not right here. There should be something in that file. So first of all, let us LL and grep for, what's the name of the file? If C
IF CFG
CFG ENP 0 S3. It's not there. No, not LL. Sorry. Grep for grep.
Grep.
All right. So that's what we have. So why did it not work? Let's do it. Let's try again. Did I delete it? EFE All right. So now we know the name of the file, right?
Sir, you typed CGF. That was the mistake.
Okay.
You inputted CGF. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's
okay.
just CFG.
CFG. Okay. All right. So let's correct our mistake. So this time it's VI IF
CFG
CFG.
Okay. ENP
0
S3. All right. Okay. So this is the file.
Can I say something, sir?
Yeah.
So from the last class, I was checking my notes. That VI that we did GF instead of CFG, that means that it has gone ahead to create a file.
Yes. Another file.
That's why we was able to edit it.
Yes.
We that not affect the directory creating a file that is not there. The system configurator will it not affect it?
Which one?
Okay, so you said that we should be careful how we undo the system config.
Yeah.
Now creating CGF, a file there, would it not have any effect?
It's a different file now. It will never ever look for that file to do anything with it.
Okay, sir.
They just look alike. It's not the same file, like somebody observed. So instead of CFG, I type CGF. It's a different file. But if what I did was on the correct file and I write nonsense right here on this correct file, there could be a problem.
Okay, sir.
Is that your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So if I create another file or 3 or 4 other files, as long as they are not system files, even if they look like system files, Linux will never ever go to use that file. But if I'm using the correct file and I type whatever I type there, I must be careful, because if I type the wrong thing, then I'm confusing Linux. All right, so we delete this. This is not Windows environment, so it's not a place where you can just select delete. Highlight and select delete will not work. So you delete one by one. Right? All right, so we're ready now to edit. So how do we edit? We have our file.
I
what?
Device.
Okay, I for okay. I for insert.
Insert.
Okay, let me load this first. Okay. So back here, I for insert. Then let me move this. All right, so let me just do the caps first. Device.
Equals to
on boot.
Is
that correct? On boot, correct? Boot
yes,
proto.
Boot proto.
Then IP address. And then what?
Mask.
Netmask.
And gateway.
Don't worry about gateway for now. Okay. All right. So for device, what's the device?
EMP.
ENP 0S3.
All right. For on boot?
Yes.
Static.
Proto?
Yes.
Static.
Yeah. IP address?
192. 168.
168.
100.
100.
11.
Okay, let's do 20. And then subnet mask?
255.
255. 255.255.0. All right, so we're done. What do we do? Escape colon, right?
WQ, bang.
Bang. All right, we're done. What's the new IP address now? IP address?
To restart first.
What's the new IP address?
Hasn't changed yet.
Okay, so you already know the thing what I mean. It hasn't changed yet, right?
Yes, sir.
So what do we do to make it change?
We restart it.
Restart. Okay, what's the command to restart?
systemctl restart network service.
All right. Good. All right. So it's restarted. What's the IP address now?
IP address.
For that interface?
192.
It's showing the new IP address.
Correct.
Yes,
all right. Beautiful. So we want to make this permanent, this change permanent. Systemctl. What do we do?
Enable
network.
Enable network. All right. All right. That's done. What else are we missing? It's all done.
Oh, good.
Okay. Let's see if we can see the other one. Ping what? What's the IP address of the other one?
192.
Mute yourselves. Ah, man, do we have children here? Now 192.
.168.
No, 192, sorry. 192.168. Dot
100.
100.10. Dot 10, right? I mean, the other system, is that dot 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. We are pinging now using our statically assigned IP addresses. Now we have a network. We can say, yes, we do have a network. No longer that machine dynamically assigned. All right, let's just test the other one. Last time we tried that one, it didn't work. Let's try it. All right, last time we said ping, it said timeout, Control C. Let's try again. What's the IP address of the other one? What's the new IP address?
192. 192.168.100.20.
Okay. All right. Congratulations. You've been able to set up a network. And this is one of the most difficult parts of Linux, to be honest. So once you get this, there's hope that we can move forward. And now let's take time to revise this before we now begin to. We have a network now. So we're going to set up how to administer network, create account, and all of that. But before we move on, let us consolidate on what we've learned. Questions? Who is not able to do this from scratch by himself? Let me bring up my video now. Yes. Any question?
So, if in operations, are we going to be giving the the device, the IP address, all that we had to edit? Are they going to be given to us?
Even if they don't give you,
to assign.
You can always pick your own IP address now. 192, the one you'll be using, you can use it again and again and again.
Okay.
The 192.168, all the ones you'll be using, you can use them repeat. Everywhere you go, you see them use that same IP address. To finish all the 192.100, finish all the 192.168.100 from 1 all the way to .254 before you begin to worry about. I need more IP addresses, so what do I do? All right. Questions? We are pinging. All right, well, let's look through the note and see if there's anything we're missing. Since you don't have questions. Configure IP addresses. All right, now your servers are connected. Let us try to migrate services. No, we're not doing that one today. All right.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I need a bad more, sir. So I just need a little brush up, sir. So during second client 2 editing at the VI, that is gateway side. I know we didn't touch the gateway, sir. Yes, sir. Then as against client 1, I don't know, maybe client 1 doesn't need the gateway as well. I don't know.
They are both servers and they are both connected to internet. What do you need gateway for?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You don't need gateway. So if we run into issues where we need to configure gateway, we'll not remember, then we'll troubleshoot and find out that it's gateway. But for now, I configure gateway, I don't configure gateway. It's not relevant for now. You don't know what it means. You don't see the relevance. All right, so let us do what we need to do so that we're not just memorizing just because they say do it, we just do it. No. Let us know when it's necessary to do it and when it's not necessary to do it. Yes, but good questions. Yeah, questions?
Can I ask a question? Although it's relating to what Niyi asked, just wanted to clear my memory on this gateway. This gateway will be like maybe if you have these two servers in different LAN locations, then you will now have to configure gateway for them, right? Just ask, you know.
What does gateway do? We talked about gateways in Windows. What does gateway do?
That's just maybe
exit and entry.
Yes, controls exit and entry to the network. So we don't have any reason to get out of this network right now. So don't worry about gateway. We already explained all the theory we need to explain about gateway. We explained that in Windows. So if you have seen those videos, you understand what gateways are. But for now, we don't need gateways here. We'll come to the level where we need gateways and we'll talk more extensively about gateways and we'll configure them. But for now, your worry should be about do you know where the file is to configure for static IP? And can you configure static IP?
I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
So when you were doing the cloning on the virtual Windows Server environment, you ran a script to change the system ID. I don't know, you didn't do it in this one when you did the cloning here.
You said I ran it. Okay, no, for Windows. When we clone in Windows.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We did that because there was an error. Now Windows told us that it's seeing the two systems as one system. We didn't just do it because it's religion, or we didn't do it as a ritual. We didn't just do it because it's something that has to be done. We encountered an error, and Windows says this is a problem I'm having. Go and change the SID so I can recognize these two systems as two separate systems. So we want to do it. So if Linux is intelligent enough and does not see that as a problem, then why? There's no problem to solve there.
Sir, if I may add, I also think it's because we haven't given it the static IP address. Maybe an ID having the IP address hadn't been assigned to either to the first server, because I think that was one of the reasons we're having that issues in Windows when an IP address has already been assigned.
Not exactly, because even these systems, we're already seeing each other and pinging even before we began to assign IP addresses statically. With the dynamically assigned IP address, they were already seeing each other.
Okay.
So don't carry the problems that you already encountered with Windows, don't carry them over to Linux. Linux respond to Linux the way Linux presents itself. So if Linux does not present it as a problem, don't imagine it as a problem. Hello, where's my video, by the way?
Just like you do in a command prompt for Windows, Control C and Control V. Can you do it here on terminal?
No. Why don't you try it? Why are you asking me?
Okay.
Try it now. That's the way to know. So I can't say no. I retrieve my question. I retrieve my answer. You try it and come and tell me you did it. And then, of course, with input, look, you can share. This one means that you should be able to copy and paste. Share clipboard, disabled. You'll be able to copy from guest to host, from host to guest, or bidirectional. All right? If you do this, you should be able to copy and paste between your guest system and your host system. And then you go to devices. Was it device? What did I just click now? Okay. And then you come here and you say bidirectional. So in theory, that should help you do it. But are you able to do it practically in your case? I don't know until you try it. But for me, I'm not able to. So if I come to my Windows now and copy, I'm not able to paste there. I copy, Control C, and I come here and I say Control V. It will not work for me. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't mean that it will not work for you. But if I must do this, I know how to do it, but it's not important. And at this stage, I encourage you to really learn to type so that you don't make the kind of, you get used to your keyboard and not copy and paste all this. All right, questions?
So this is Jimmy. So I was just I was looking at this, what you asked a question, why are we actually creating two servers? And I think Obafemi gave a very good point where he said, looking at his company, they probably be operating in different locations or maybe different entities, and they probably need two servers to manage. But I was also looking at it as well, maybe exploring other options. What about a case where we have like maybe a server could serve as a database server, and another server serves as a web server? Could that be
somebody AK, that was what AK, that was AK's contribution before Bapemi made that contribution. And we said that was fantastic. Very good. Yeah. So AK already mentioned that. That is good as well. So you could have both servers co-located or taking care of different aspects of the services you are rendering. Yes, that's a good example. They are both fantastic examples. All right, so what are we doing now? So with this one now, what's the IP address of this one? Okay, so
92. Okay.
I don't know. Let's stop here. Let's not do something new. Now, what am I? Print working directory. I'm in script. So if I go here to CD, if I do CD, it will take me home, right? So if I say print working directory, what am I now? I'm now in root. Because I'm logged in as root, root is my home. If I was logged in as Akin will be my home. What am I showing? What I want to show here is as Akin, can I stay here? Can I stay here in root as root and still be able to edit that file? I don't want to say CD, etc. and so on and so forth. I just want to stay here and be able to edit that file, that configuration file. How can I do it? Without going into etc, into sysconfig, into network.street. I just want to stay here and do it. How can I do it?
You have to get the full path name.
Okay, correct. In theory, you are very correct. So let's do it now in practice.
VI.
/etc.
home.
/etc.
/sysconfig
sysconfig
/network scripts
network scripts
/ifconfig
if CFG
-enp0s3
enp0s3. This is correct. This have to do it straight away. This have to do it straight away. Wherever you are, whether you are in a directory, whatever you are, you'll be able to do it without changing directory, without changing directories step by step. You can just do it like this straight away. So if I press enter now, it will take me straight to that same file. All right, correct. Good way. To enter the full path name. All right. So let me exit here without making any changes. If I go and add full stop now and make changes, it will disrupt the whole thing. So I want to exit by pressing escape.
Escape colon.
Don't write, just quit.
Bank.
Okay.
Bank.
All right. So what is the name of this host, this my system? What's its name? We're doing extra time today because of the time we lost last time. So what's the name of the system?
root.
No, the name of this server, this computer, this machine. To find out the name, I'll do host name. The host name of this machine is localhost.local domain. I don't like this name, it's too long. To change the name of the machine, let me change it to, the command to change the name is host name, ctl, set host name to server 1. All right. So what is the host name of this system now? Host name is now server 1. So how do we change the name of a machine from what it used to be to a new name? The command is host name ctl, set host name, then you enter the new name. You get it?
Yes, sir.
So that's a new command you just made. Host name ctl, set host name, then enter the new name. All right? So if I want to find out about this system, instead of just entering host name to get only the name, I could enter host name ctl, and then to give me a little more information than just the host name. It will tell me the host name of this system is server 1, and this computer is a virtual machine. The chassis is not Intel or anything, it's just virtual machine. The machine ID is this one, by which other systems will recognize this. The boot ID is that one. The virtualization environment is this one. The operating system is an OS. The noise, your background noise is disturbing us. All right, the kernel is that, and the architecture is this. So it gives us detailed information. A simple exam question is, how do you find out the operating system on your system, running on your machine? There are many ways to find out. One of them is to enter hostname ctl, and then to tell you your operating system. Now mute yourself. I wish I have access to my video so I can just permanently remove these people. Mute yourself. All right, so hostname and hostname ctl. That's another command. And in case you remember a command, but you don't remember how to use the command, you can always find out about how do I use this command by doing man. That's manual for the command. Give me manual for the command host name ctl. All right, it will give you literature explaining that command and giving you the different options about how to use that command. Look at the options. All right, and then you can know, okay, if you put -h, it will give you the name of the host. If you put -h, it will give you help relating to that command. If you put minus version, it will give you the version of that command that you are running. If you take status, it will give you this. All right. If you say set host name and then you present a name, it will change the host name to that name. So this is, even if you don't remember everything in exam or in real life, just type man that command and it will give you literature as to the different ways you can use that command. Set location. But you are just starting this course. In fact, Linux as a whole, so you are not expected to know everything. Just know the basics, and as you use them over and over the years, then you'll be able to use these commands, these options with the basic commands. All right, so let's come here and quickly learn something. So what's the name of this system? I check host name. I don't like this name, it's too long, it's not user-friendly. How do I change the name of this system to server 2? What did we change that one to? What's the name of this system?
Server 1.
No, that wasn't right. Control quit. Q for quit. So I typed Q for quit. What's the name of this system? It's still there, it's still showing me there. Server 1. Is server 2 here? What we change? Let's change it again to server 2. How do I change the name to server 2?
Host name CTL.
Host name CTL.
Set hyphen host name. Server 1. Server 2.
Server 2. Correct. All right. So what's the new name now?
Server 2.
Host name CTL.
Yeah.
All right, it's server 2. But why is server 2 not showing here? You have to reboot. You have to reboot to let it show, to make it show. Because this is not a configuration file that you configured. So there is nothing to go and say restart. There's nothing to restart other than to say to reboot. All right. You need 6 to reboot. Is it init? Init. Init. All right. I won't use this in a while, so I'll have to. All right. So let's do it here again. Let's do it here as well. What name do you want to change this one to?
Server 1.
Server 2.
Host name.
Server 1.
CTL. Set host name.
Host name.
So server
1.
Server 1. All right. That's it. Is it done?
Host name CTL.
Yes, it's done. Why is it not showing? I have to reboot. Init 6 to reboot. All right. So what do we have here? All right. So we are revising now. Now you know how to stay in a particular folder and edit a file on another folder. And now you know how to change system name. So it's now showing server 2. All right. And it's showing me who is logged in. It's showing me that Akin is logged in. And then who am I? You already seen it there, but just in case it's not sure. Who am I? I'm Akin. All right. Print working directory. I'm in my home. All right. Okay. All right. So what else do I want to show you? Now let's go through this together and just make sure that we've covered everything we should cover today under networking. All right. Networking server systems update. All right. Preamble. Enable internet in Linux. We did that, right? By enabling NAT. Name all the components you must define in order to establish networking. Okay. So these are questions. You already know that. In the default NAT state of VM, your CentOS may not connect to the internet. simply use if up to bring up the interface. We've done that, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Using link binding, it is possible to logically bind. That's just theory, nothing to do practical. I wish I were in the right place. Okay. That's just theory. Okay, I'll copy the theory. Network files, you know how to use a ping. You know how to use a if config. You know how to use net start. How do you use, what's net start? Let's go and quickly do net start. All right. So there's a command called net start. What does it do? It gives you the statistics of your network, what's going on in the background. All right. Net start, active internet connection. All right. Just gives you an idea. You don't know how to use it, but it just gives you. There are so many things happening right now, even though on the foreground they are not doing anything. So many things are happening on this system in the background. All right. So net start will just give you, what does it give you? Tells you there's an active internet connection. So that's one way to find out. Do you have internet connection here? What's another way to find out if you have? What's the real way to find out if there's internet connection apart from net start? Telling you that these services are connected. Streaming is going on in the background. There are so many services connected. Look at them. All of them running in the background. Anything running in the background of your system is called daemon. All right, daemon. So there are so many daemons here running in the background. Connected, running. Net start. All right, it's not really important now because you're not using it. It's just theory. But how do you find out from the command line interface that the system is connected to the internet? There's no browser here now to browse.
You can ping Google browser.
Ping what?
Google server.
Yes, that's correct. That's the way to find out. Ping any popular IP address that you know the server is always up, will never go down. 8.8.8 is a popular server that would hardly go down. It's always there. So ping it. Once you are getting results, this shows that you are connected to the internet. So you are connected to the internet. All right. So once you disable this system from the internet, what do we do?
You go and deactivate the second adapter, the NAT.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. That's the straightforward thing to think of. Other methods may be more complex, but that's the straightforward answer. That's the answer I expect. Good. All right. So we're making progress. User mode. No, I'm not going to teach you this now. All right. So let me ask questions now, then I can release you. So many things to learn, but I'm tempted to do something new. But I'm satisfied that you are able to do this one today. So let me not put so much work on you. You go and practice. But before I let you go, let me just take you through the questions I'm asking. You are doing very well so far, but it's just that not everyone is answering. Only said that few people are answering. I need everyone to come on board and where's my share? All right. All right, so this question is for everybody now, not for the people that have been answering. Oh, should I teach you? They are too simple. They are too simple for you. No need to ask them. They are too simple questions. You'll be answering them already. But in any case, let me still select someone now. So I need to configure an IP address, a static IP address for my network. What file do I edit to configure that static IP address?
You edit IFCFG. So. You edit IFCFG -ENP0S3.
All right. So who is that?
Neyi Badmus.
All right, Neyi, correct. Now, I am able to ping IP addresses. I can ping IP addresses, right? We confirm that we can ping IP addresses. I don't know what you're saying. Let me share my screen. Share. All right, so I can ping IP address. What's the IP address of this system?
192.
What interface is of interest to me right here? Because I'm looking for IP address. Where should I look for my IP address?
ENP0S3.
All right, so my IP address is this one then. All right, so if I ping 192 dot what?
168.
Dot 100.10, I get results. Now, in operations, must I remember IP addresses all the time? I can also ping host name without necessarily remembering IP addresses. In fact, that's the whole essence of having host name. So I can refer to systems by their host name and not necessarily by the IP addresses. It's very okay, it's technical as engineers to use IP addresses, but not everyone who uses systems would know about systems deep enough to be able to refer to them by their IP addresses. So it is allowed, in fact, it is recommended, not just recommended, it is normal for users to refer to systems by their host names. In this case, what's the host name of this system? In this, our case, what's the host name of server 1 and server 2, correct. So why can't I, okay. So the host name of this system, host name, is server 1. So why can't I ping server 1 here? Ping server 1. Do you expect that I'll get result or not?
We should.
We should get results.
You get results.
All right. We're getting results, are we?
Yes.
Server 1. Okay, so what about here? Ping server 2. Are we not getting results? Even here, why did we get results? Control C.
Server is not spelled properly. Server.
Ping server 1. What's server 1? Give me one second. What is the host name of this system? Host name. This is server 2, eh? So ping server 1. Okay, so we entered it correctly. What about this one? Ping server 2.
The server is SERVE.
Let me see.
The spelling of the server.
What's wrong with the spelling? It's not correct. Okay, maybe we did.
It's correct.
Control C. What's the name of this system? Host name. Server 2. That's the spelling now. Server 2.
In server 1, when you spelled ping server, you did SEVER instead of SER.
Let's correct this thing. Let this thing ping. This is the server we are trying to ping. Can you see server 2 here?
Yes.
So let's ping that server 2 now. Clear your mind of whatever mistake you thought we made. So ping server 2. So what's the problem? Why are we not able to ping? This is what I expect. This is what I expected from here. I expect that we will not be able to ping. But if we're able to ping that one, why are we not able to ping this one? Clear. What's the name of this server? Host
server 1.
Name. Server 1. Okay, so let's ping server 1 here. Ping server 1. All right. Somehow, some angels or spirits have helped us to do this. So thank God we still have the problem here. So why are we not able to do this? First of all, what's the theoretical reason we're not able to do it before we now try to implement it? Why are we not able to ping server? By your understanding of networking so far, give me an explanation. Why are we not able to ping? Or what about the IP address? What's the IP address of this one? IP address.
192.
Okay, right there, right?
Let's go here. IP add.
So ping 192.168. Dot 100.20. All right, so we're pinging the IP address. IP address is good. So why are we not able to ping the host name? Why is the host name not giving us results? Ping server 2. That's the question now.
Maybe you need to restart for the configuration to the.
We didn't configure anything now. What did we configure?
When you change the host name.
Where were you? Did you go on break? We restarted both machines now. When I used a new command called init6 to restart. Init6 is for restarting. And init0 is to shut down. Init0 or shut down. If I press enter now to shut down, but we're still using the system, so I don't want to shut down. So write it down. Init6 to restart. So why are we not able to ping using hostname?
So why we cannot ping? So I'm thinking maybe the firewall, sir. Maybe it's blocking it from reading each other. Sir.
All right. So if your thinking is not quite correct, what else could it be? It's not firewall because we are pinging the IP address successfully. Why is it that we're able to ping IP address successfully, but we cannot ping?
Maybe it's something with the name, because if the addresses are pinging and the names are not pinging, then there's something about the name. Maybe.
Correct reasoning, good reasoning. Well, proceed from there, take it from there. So bring that one to IT now. Your reasoning was just normal reasoning. Bring it to IT. So what about the name?
Then in that case, that would be DNS. DNS, sir. DNS.
Correct.
DNS, yeah.
Correct. So the naming is about the inability to resolve the host name to the correct IP address. It should be somewhere around there. So the service that is responsible for resolving host name to IP addresses is DNS service. So it is about the DNS server. That's the answer. That's the correct answer. Every interview must give you that kind of question. Maybe not in exactly the same way I've given it to you, I've asked you, but in a way that will test your knowledge of the purpose and the function of DNS service. So you're right. It's around the DNS service. So we'll start from there tomorrow to see how to work on DNS, at least this local DNS, so that we're not able to successfully ping using hostnames instead of trying to remember IP addresses all the time. All right. All right. So far, so good. You understand everything we've done today? Ask your last question, and then that'll be it for today. I don't see my video, so I'm not able to see your faces, so I can answer questions. All right. DNS services. Questions? So at this stage, you're expected to have installed your Linux and be able to practice everything we are learning. All right, here's my video finally. Okay, questions? Questions? Is Anne there?
Yes, sir.
Why are you not talking? Or the noise, is the background noise from you? It must be from you because.
No, not from me, sir. I've not even unmute my this thing for long.
All right, Henry. So are you able to practice everything we've done today? Who is not able to practice?
Yes,
What
yes,
questions
sir.
do you have? Well, I'm not talking now. Afis.
Sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I practice everything, sir.
You practice everything already, or you can practice it?
As in the one that we did last time, I've practiced this. This one I can do it.
Okay.
I can do it.
All right. So go ahead, clone your system, or if you have to load a new operating system just to gain more experience as to how to load operating systems, go ahead and then ensure that your one system is able to ping the other system, because we are going to load services on those systems, and we're able to, so that we're able to copy files from one system to another system, and then we can load DNS service, FTP service, SSH service, and so on and so forth. All right. So if there are no more questions, we've done like 30 minutes extra. And then we'll continue from there tomorrow. But like I said, please go ahead and practice. All right. So that's it for today then.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, then. Bye. See you tomorrow.
Thank
Is
you,
it
sir.
tomorrow?
Bye-bye.
See you on
Tuesday.
Tuesday. All right, then.
Tuesday.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. And